welcome everybody to the Creative Mind, where we host projects and individuals and get to know about the creative process a little bit, right? I'm your host, Andrew Lyko. I am the founder of One Dope Kids, and we currently do have a project, guys. Our project is basically about having a community of innovative creativity, which means we're designed to empower artists and collectors under a global lifestyle brand. That being said, man, we already wasted a lot of time, so we're just gonna hop right into it, Hyblinnx, if you don't mind. And by all means, anybody that wants to come on up, feel free. Hyblinnx, he has a couple of friends who want to shoot the shit. By all means, come on up. I do have a few questions for you. We're gonna talk about your process, your background a little bit, and yeah, overall, this is a pretty chill space, guys, where we can learn about a little bit more about Hyblinnx and how she does what she does and why she does it. So, that being said, Hyblinnx, how you doing? I know we had a little bit of difficulty right now, but how's everything?
Oh no, it's all good. I'm good. I'm chilling. Getting ready for the weekend. Super excited. I live in Minnesota and it just dumped snow on us. So I'm really excited that they actually plowed and we can drive around and get the fuck out of the house. So yeah, it's a
Damn.
good day.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I usually tend to like the cold. I mean, I was in town for like 2 years, so it's so freaking hot. So anytime there's like rain or a little bit of like a chilly weather, I'm like, oh, perfect. I can wear a hoodie, like get all super cozy with my iPad and stuff. Like, yeah, that's great. So,
Yeah, I want that. Right now it's been all like, oh, gotta stay inside, risk slipping on the ice and like getting into a car accident, or just I'm glad that
yeah.
I work from home, but sometimes it's a little cabin fevery.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel it. And I've only lived in one place where it actually snowed like that. I was in Arkansas for a little bit, and that was the first time I saw like snow. The first time I saw like the roads get icy, and I'm like, damn, this is different, right? So it was
Yeah.
pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was chill. Um, but yeah, that I mean. I'm super excited to get to know you a little bit better. I know we've talked a few times, but every conversation sparks something new, especially if I have a couple of questions to throw at you. So I hope
Ooh.
you're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So first off, right, what I would like to know is what first influenced you to create? And that can mean anything. It doesn't have to be specifically just art. Like, when was the first time you had that feeling to create something?
Ooh. Um, let's see. Art was always just like part of my like life experience, I guess is the best way to put it. So growing up, my parents always said that like I would be drawing on the walls, literally drawing on the walls. Like if there was a pen within reach, I was grabbing it and I was gonna make something. The wall was the first canvas, and luckily my parents weren't upset about it, and instead learned to just paint over it, and then also give me a bunch of sketchbooks and coloring books, and I just kind of like grew up with art and creating around me. And my mom used to run like camps for kids out of our church, and there was always like an art section that like I just gravitated towards, whether it was like when we were super young, like finger painting and making like crafts and stuff. But I grew older, it turned into me replicating the stuff that I was watching, which is like Pokemon and like Sailor Moon and shit like that. And that was when I realized that art was a great way that I could like make friends and connect with people, because I always wanted to show people my art. And once I was in junior high, I was really like keeping a sketchbook and way more dedicated than I am now, keeping a sketchbook and like showing my friends all the time, and like basically chasing that high of somebody liking what I drew. And then that turned into going into like AP classes in high school and learning how to build a portfolio, and then deciding that I wanted to go into drawing and painting. So I went to school for drawing and painting, and graduated with the BFA, and then decided I should do design in order to actually make a living. And so I did like a 2 year certificate in graphic design and started working in branding. And that's pretty much like how I am where I am now. So always been creative, but definitely started through my parents like nurturing that creativity and not being annoyed by it.
I completely agree. Even with like I had like a similar experience where my parents, they, kind of allowed me to be free in that sense,
Hmm.
right? I know other people have a hard time and they get actually pushback, right, from their family when they're trying to do something in the creative arts. So that can be kind of upsetting. It's like another obstacle to have to go through as a creative. So the fact that your parents were kind of like, yo, this is cool. I support this. By all means, keep creating. I think that's super important, right? When it comes to wanting to create at a very young age and how that can evolve into an actual career because you don't have like that support of just allowing you to be
Hmm.
you and do what you want in that sense. Like, can you imagine how much difficult it would be?
Yeah, yeah, not having that person that like is also excited about what you're creating, and even if it's even if it's nothing beautiful, is just excited that you're making something and you're excited about it. Like having that support is like it's priceless, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. So, how would you say your personal experience have shaped your visual expression? And what I
Mm.
mean by that is like, what are certain things that you've noticed happened or happening in your life that is continuing to shape your visual expression when it comes to your art, like the way that it comes out of you?
Yeah, I think definitely like what I'm watching and what I'm consuming. I've always been a big cartoon girl, which like my art style is always going to have some type of like cartoony, non-realistic edge to it. Um, that's I also really enjoy like I don't know if it's a good thing to enjoy, but I enjoy like looking back on my life and like with fresh eyes and like dismantling it. And there's a lot of nostalgia that comes into play there and a lot of like just self-discovery and um like emotional awareness, which I really find fun and like I think it makes me more aware of who I am, and that 100% like feeds into my artwork and a lot of my like heavier pieces, like my Becoming Blank series is all about like what emotional like epiphanies am I going through, what emotional challenges have I been through, and then kind of like tying it back to a happier time in my childhood where I was consumed by the media that was there in our childhoods.
And I just pinned something to the top actually, and I think it's a really cool message, um, because you're honest about how long it took you to finally be accepting of your own creations, right? Being
Hmm.
like, yo, I'm proud of that. And I think this is important for everybody to know, not just artists, but anybody trying to do something that it's gonna take some time, right? And you don't ever know when you're actually gonna be like, yo, I'm actually proud of this. Like that moment kind of just creeps up on you as you continue to create and experiment. And so for you, let's talk about that a little bit, right? You said it took you plus 10 years to get here. What were the some of like the biggest hurdles that you went through throughout this time where you just like trying to find that style that you can look at be like, yo, like yes, this is me, and like let's fucking go. I'm about to put this out to the world because I know it's fresh as fuck and they're gonna love it.
Yeah. For me, let's see. It took a lot of sharing my artwork and learning how to take people's opinions and filter them out. And also just like constantly being a consumer and a viewer of art and of just styles and realizing what I'm gravitating towards and then putting it all together to create a style and knowing that it's going to be a process. Like, I think the moment that I realized that I love my art is the moment that I like trusted myself as an artist, which took a long fucking time because I always feel like my art needs to look like other people's in some way. And I've now realized that like no matter what, even if I try to make it look like somebody else's, it's like you can tell that I'm the one who drew it. Like I can't help it. And that is my style and I'm happy with that. And I think that like that's going to be my style no matter what I'm doing. I'm going to try and make sure that like no matter what medium I'm creating in, you can tell that I touched it, whether that's color and whether that's like if I throw line work into photography or like there's going to be a hint of what you guys see now in what I do next. And it's because I definitely trust where I'm going and like the decisions I'm making and the filter that I've made over the past 30 years.
Wow, very long time. Dang, it's amazing. And have you always been like a digital artist? Like before you said you were doing like sketches, drawings, did you ever do painting at all? Like
Ooh, yeah.
what are the different type of mediums that you've done?
Yeah, so I've done like drawing in almost every medium. Like I went through AP courses which kind of forced us to try multiple mediums, which I love experimentation, so I was so hyped for it. Like I did a lot of like oil pastels, chalk pastels, like did portraits in crayon and stuff like that. And then I moved on to more like physical media in college. So I did some 3D art and not digital 3D art, but like 3D like found art creations and then a lot of painting. I was acrylic. I did a lot of acrylic painting and focused on my senior thesis was around like body image and body dysmorphia and anime characters. So I did a lot of like large panel paintings of anime women on like wood panels and like kind of distorting their bodies and stuff. And then let's see, what else have I done? It wasn't until I was in college and like doing some design courses that I actually started doing digital art, and it all kind of clicked for me when I first had like a it was like a Wacom tablet, and it was in the college like computer lab. But yeah, that was when I first like started to hop into the digital art sphere and just having the ability to like keep my references and my like drawing surface near each other and like I don't know. It just kind of all made sense and I could combine my design skills with my illustration skills and kind of take it to the next level.
Nice. And I actually listened into a space that you did with Papa Mugu a while back.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that you actually worked like in corporate for quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
For a few years, if I'm not mistaken. And so, for those that don't have that experience of, being on both sides and experiencing what it's like to work corporate and then coming over here and kind of being like your own entrepreneur, where everything kind of relies on you. Can you tell us a little bit about like the difference, right? When it comes to your personal experience that you had to go through
Ooh, yeah.
from,
So let's see. About like working for yourself as opposed to working in corporate so far. Like all the ideas are my own and like all of the trajectory is up to me. So I don't have to bend to anybody else's whims, honestly, or anybody else's opinions. And creative, being a creative in corporate is difficult because visual visual products, visual representations, graphics, whatever you want to call them, are so subjective because everybody can see them, everybody can have an opinion on it. So you really are at the mercy of not only the people on your team, but everybody in the company who will see it and potentially have an opinion on what you're creating. And in this situation, I'm the only one who gets an opinion on what I'm creating, which I really enjoy. But I do miss working on a team, which is the great part about working in corporate, having people to bounce ideas off of that you're all working towards the same exact goal for the same exact reason. And then also having like the support of having project managers and like copywriters and photographers and creative directors, and knowing that like everybody is taking care of their part of the goal. So,
It's very true because when you're on your own, it's just like you're, one man team for everything, right? And it takes a lot to kind of have an art career, like a professional one at least, because there's a lot of factors, right? Even down to photography, and I mean, like the processing, like if you're an artist that shit like sells merchandise, like having a system for shipping and all that, the logistics and stuff, like there's a lot that goes into running your own business as your own brand, right? And I
yes.
feel like people need to understand that it's not just like, yeah, let me draw some stuff, let me sell it, and like that's it. I mean, in Web3, it's made it a lot easier to have that be like the end thing where it's like you can create, people are buying for the art, and that's what they're getting. But if you want to expand, right, do other stuff, then you need to understand that it's a ton of work, and you need to either build a team or get used to working like crazy hours.
Yes, definitely. Like no one can do it alone at all, especially if you want your company, your brand to scale. Like you need to hire help at some point.
Yeah, because I know you also took like a 2 3 week break not too
Yeah.
long ago, right? Because when I entered the space, found out about you, like you were just going hard, like week after week, dropping stuff and then additions. I'm just like, damn, dude, like the I can tell because I'm creating myself. Like, yo, she must be just on her iPad every single day, right? Just like
Seriously.
knocking stuff out. So like, what was that like? Like, did you feel like you were close to burning out at some point, or did you catch it right on time? Like, nope, I'm gonna rest, come back fresh. Like, what is that like? Because I feel like a lot of artists, especially in the Web3 space, feel like they're foaming out if they're not constantly active every single day,
Hmm.
right? Even like 1 week away from Twitter, they're just like, oh damn, like what did I miss? You know what I mean? I'm losing money.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I think I caught myself right as I was burning out, and not necessarily burning out on creating things, but definitely burning out on like worrying about external perceptions. Like there's nothing worse for my creative process than like worrying about whether or not I'm disappointing people. And that's always where my mind goes, is like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Like, is this enough? And then also like being able to directly compare yourself to like other people and thinking, well, they're doing enough, like should I be doing what they're doing, and then losing track of like your own goals. That's where I burn out. So that's what was happening to me around like November, December. So I needed to just like hard disconnect and pivot. And honestly, I think I probably came back too soon, but I don't know, like I'm a people person and don't like separating from my friends and my brand that I'm building. So I was like, I'm gonna come back and just like be in the space and be like re-inspired and maybe create things that I'm not necessarily gonna sell. And that's kind of where I've been at right now, like just trying to get back to just creating and having fun and like building the brand and doing the back behind the scenes stuff that I couldn't really create a great foundation for when I was busting my ass last year.
Yeah, I mean that's exciting though. Like you were able to, catch yourself, and that comes with knowing yourself a little bit deeper, right? Knowing your limits, right? Knowing when to say no, when to, put your pen down, be like, all right, bro, I need to
Yeah,
relax because it's not a good thing. You might think you're grinding it out, you're like kind of, working, but at the end of the day, you're forcing that creative process, and it's gonna show in your work whether you like it or
yeah,
not.
exactly. It's like what's driving the creation of the work? Is it like the environment that we're in, or is it your own inspirations right now? And that's where the deeper I got into the Web3 environment, the more I was just like, oh, I just want to see what the system can do. And I was making stuff just to test out the system. And then that quickly like burnt me out because I just following a meta is sometimes overwhelming. And I'd rather like create things that I'm excited about instead of feel like I need to catch up with the meta.
Yep. One of the things that I've also learned too is like you'll never
Oh
catch the
yeah,
meta,
no.
no matter what. It's always gonna be out of reach. And even if you're thinking you're that close, like nope. You either do your own thing and let the meta catch up to you and your place on the top when you're doing that, or you're just always gonna be chasing it.
Right?
And that's something I've also learned myself, right? As an artist, as a project founder, everything. I'm like, dude, there's just no chance to catch it. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
do you.
Yeah, the meta is so shiny, but it really only works for the person who kicked it off.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Shit. Yeah. Good to know that I'm
Nope,
not the only one.
definitely not.
But that being said, so like what are what are you currently doing? Like I know you're in Web3, you have the hoodlums, right? You're about to drop the inklings and stuff like that. But what's like the big uh vision here, right? Like if money wasn't an issue, right? What is it that you ultimately want to create?
Ooh, yeah, I want to create stories. So there's a story around Blinks and the Inklings. They're part of the same world, and then the whole story separate. But yeah, I want to work on these stories, and I ideally I want to make like a webtoon and then like a cartoon off of Blinks. That'd be amazing. That's like the top tier goal. Um, so that's what I would want to do, whether I was getting paid for it or not. And honestly, if I had like a million bajillion dollars, I'd fund it myself.
A million bajillion. That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I've budgeted out. Like, that's what I need if anybody would like to fund my project.
Oh man, that'd be super cool though, to see a Blink series cartoon show. That'd be epic.
Right?
Dang. Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty much a big dream for a lot of artists, right? To kind of see the creations come to life and
Hmm.
see other people enjoy it in many ways. So who knows? That might just come true someday. So that'd be
Yes.
epic. And Blinks is, a representation of yourself, right? It's like kind of like your cartoon version, would you say? Or is it a character like kind of like as like an imaginary best friend, right? I mean, it's like self-portrait here. Like who is Blinks?
Ooh, I'd say Blinks is herself, but she definitely, I'm using her to work through a lot of the like self discovery and epiphanies that I have had to go through in order to like get in touch with who I am and stop being a people pleaser, which is so like, I mean, it's a never ending journey, but honestly, realizing that like your emotions matter and how you're feeling is letting you know whether or not you are cool with the situation, whether or not you are safe, and whether or not like whether or not you should keep going forward with your plans. And I think that like at least a lot of people from my generation, my parents' generation, are taught to like ignore your feelings and focus on like what society needs from you and like don't be abrasive, don't make people uncomfortable. And a lot of times that comes at sacrificing what we need in order to like feel okay. So I think that like not even think that I know that I want to make a series that talks about going from denying your emotions to accepting your emotions to then employing your emotions to like save yourself essentially. So yeah, like Blinks is just the vessel that I'm using to do that. And she's not like 100% me, but let's be honest, like we all put a little bit of ourselves in our artwork. So like she's as close as I'm ever gonna come to cartoon form.
Yeah, it's like, you're kind of using it as an expression, right? Where
Yeah.
sometimes if you're feeling something heavy or if you want to say something, you're using her as a way to say it and get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool because it's pretty difficult actually to come up with your own original character. Like, I've attempted it a few times and I still can't get it right. Like I'm in that process of like It's close, but it's not. It's not what I see and feel in my head, right? So I'm like just constantly changing stuff. So how long did that take you, right, to finally come up with this character and be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna be using? And I've seen your work, right? And Blinks tends to evolve in different ways, right? Sometimes she's a
Hmm.
little bit more 2D, sometimes she's
Yep.
3D, but the overall essence of like her personality and her characteristics, it's there. So like tell us about that. Like how did that come to be? Because that's something that I'm currently struggling with. So that will help a ton, actually.
Yeah. So, with Blinks, I knew I wanted to create a character that, like, if this is what I'm working on for the rest of my life, like, if that's how long it takes for me to, like, make her into something that people want to, like, make a household name, I'm gonna do it. But I wanted her to be a character that had, like, iconic features that meant that I could basically create her in any style, in any way, and basically take some of her features away and put them like if I made an abstract version of Blinks, it might just be a pink piece that has just like bubbles all over it, and it'll be a series of like bubble puffs that are Blinks's hair. So I was trying to create, yeah, just like from a design perspective, what are standout features that I can put in a character that down the road I can use if I want to, like, basically make her into an icon or make her into a symbol or something. So that was a lot of my thought process. And then also, like, Blinks, you don't really see her eyes ever. And it was a personal challenge to me to be able to create like emotional pieces without showing her eyes or a character's eyes, since like for like all of my illustration like and drawing education, emotion like starts with the eyes. So it's like let's see what we can do. And honestly, it's a huge challenge and sometimes I fail at it, but it's also become one of my favorite parts about the character, and one of the most impactful potential reveals if we ever do see her eyes. So definitely thinking about like how I want people to take in the character, what parts of the character I want people to gravitate towards. Those are the things that I put the most work into. And then, yeah, I just kind of mashed her all together as Blinks.
And your colors are becoming pretty popular in a sense, like your color palette. Um, Talk about that a little bit because I know it's not easy, right? To take 3 to 4, maybe 5 colors and use them in a way that changes the artwork. And another thing that I've also noticed that you tend to not use black so much, right? And I don't know if this is true, but I think I heard you say that you're trying to stay away from using black too much, and you're trying to push your pieces with the colors that you're actually using from your palette. Is that true? Is she rugging or is it just me? Um, can anybody else hear? Also, if anybody wants to come up, man, just shoot the shit. Have a couple questions for Hyblinnx or myself, by all means. Just request and I'll get you up here. Oh, okay, seems like she's back.
Sorry.
Yo, it's all
Sorry about
good.
that,
It
guys.
happens.
I totally missed your last question.
No, I was talking about your color palette, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think I've heard that you try to stay away from using black as much as possible,
Yeah.
and you try to push your pieces by using the limited color palette that you have.
Hmm.
Um, so like, how difficult is that, or why did you even decide to do this? Because it seems to be pretty hard, right? Because I feel like black is like the ultimate. It's always like the outline. It's the shadow that makes things pop. So when you take that away, it's like it must be pretty difficult to adjust and make your characters come to life that way.
Yeah. It's a kind of a challenge. I'll dip into black every once in a while, but like I really try very hard to, like, if I'm doing shadows, I'm using like complementary colors. I'm using like something that's going to make my other colors feel more vibrant and more saturated as opposed to muting things out. And then like how I why I decided to do the color palette was basically, I don't know, just a challenge to kind of further push my style, and push my style not necessarily to like make it hard for me, but to make it more cohesive. So it's just easier to identify my pieces because they all use the same color palette. And I was inspired by Resist when I got into the space. So I was just like, I've got color palettes from like designing that I really like. Let me see if I can start working with these in illustration and see where it goes from there. And it really helped my derivative work all look cohesive, which I really wanted it to like all tie back to me, but it's not, none of my derivative work has blinks in it or really some of my line styles I'm using now. So the color palette really helps keep it all together.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And guys, notice how she mentioned that she was looking at somebody else's work to kind of inspire her own decisions when it comes to her art in some ways, right? And notice when I'm asking these questions, I actually know a thing or two about Hyblinnx and her like a previous space or whatever. Like I'm studying her work as well, right? And kind of like a process because it's important. She's one of the persons I see doing incredible work. So I want to research it, learn, and see how I can apply some of these things to my own style, right? It doesn't necessarily it doesn't mean that I'm gonna go ahead and copy anything, but it's like more about the process and understanding how she creates and kind of like how she moves. So don't think that it's just us all of a sudden having an idea, having a style, and be like, okay, yep, that's all me. It's like, no, we're filtering other people's works all the time.
Yes, 100%. Like we're all just a culmination of what we find interesting. Like that's what our styles are. Oh, sorry.
Exactly. No, you're good. And yeah, that's basically like my point. I feel like people need to understand that this is a process and nobody's stuff is truly original, but there comes certain things like, yeah, like, don't copy directly, but like just like look at stuff and try to digest it and then implement what you see is what I'm trying to say, and do that over and over with different artists and different things that you like. You'll eventually start to notice like a certain pattern that you tend to go towards because that's what you like to see. So that's one way for artists and creators to kind of start to put together a style of their own is by ingesting as much as possible from other people that they love to see. So just a little word of advice right there before we continue. But yeah, man, this has been amazing. We're almost at the 1 hour mark. We have about 16 minutes left. So if anybody wants to come up and ask questions, by all means, this is the time. If not, me and Blinks will continue to chop it up. But Blinks, man, this is amazing. Like I've known you for a little bit now, and getting to talk to you on a deeper level, trying to understand your processes, it's honestly everything to me. Like I get super inspired with
Oh,
these creative mind spaces because it's just dope to see other human beings really go for it, right? And go for it in their own
yeah.
way. Because I know how difficult that is. It's not easy. So, props to you for, making it last and being here today and still pushing for your vision. But
Let's see.
yeah,
When did
just
we?
it's been a few months now, I believe, right? But it feels like a long time. I
Uh,
mean, the Web3 space tends to travel fast. It's like 2 months is like a year. I feel like a vet already. I haven't even been a year in this space. Crazy. But let's talk about the hoodlums a little bit. I know you're doing uh, collabs right now at the moment, correct? Like, you want to let the people know, like, where is that going, right? So you do the hoodlums and you donate a certain amount to charity, I believe. Okay, I think she's having connection issues. Meta, bro, if you want to come
Right.
up here, yeah, you're good. Because you're actually the one that put me on to Hyblinnx, man. So I would love to know how you came to discover her because it was my friend actually who put me on to you. Like, yo, you need to check this artist out. Like, she's just has like this crazy style with the hoodlums, and that was the first works of art that I saw from you, and I was just like blown away. Like, dude, this is so ill. Um, but yeah, it was Meta who put me on. And she's disconnected. All right, guys. Well, while she comes back, I want to let you guys know that we do have a pretty big announcement coming soon with One Dope Kids. Our mission has always been to empower creatives and collectors, and we've been in space for a few months now. We actually do have a first collection, which is One Dope Kings, that we've been doing a lot of stuff and experiment with. And for the most part, it's been great, man. So for those that are not too familiar with what we're doing, just give us a follow on Twitter if you're not already, or come into the Discord, ask questions. We're always there to answer, and a lot of things that are going to be rolling out pretty soon. There's been a lot of changes, and overall, for the better. The people that we've shown the artwork to now has been blown away. They're super pumped, and we have a lot of things in store that I've kept under wrap for a very long time. So we're feeling like the time is coming. So just expect more announcements. Turn on those notifications because we are about to start to roll out a lot of exciting stuff very very soon. So that being said, she's back. All right, Blinks, you there? Everything good?
Yeah,
It,
sorry.
it's that snow, right? It's just too
Seriously,
much.
no, I just transitioned from like my data to Wi-Fi and it did not like it.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's all good.
No, no, keep talking. I love hearing about ODK and what you guys are doing. You guys are fucking phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. No, I was pretty much closing it in. I was just like telling the people, there's a lot of stuff about to roll out pretty soon. We've been in the space for a few months, and overall, I've been working my ass off just to make these connections with people, and both in real life and Web3, just so we can, further expand as a community and create more things for everybody who's in here now, because it's a very difficult space. And I feel like the only way we're going to make shit happen is if we come together, kind of unite forces and, just create really cool stuff. But yeah, Blix, you want to tell us what can we look forward to in the next couple of weeks? What are you currently working on? Get us hyped up a little bit. What do you got going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, so Hoodlums is doing a collab series. We have 25 collab artists that we're working with, and we're donating a portion of the collab series. Each wave is going to donate a portion to a different charity. And right now, this wave is donating to JT Liss's Give Back, which is a charity on Solana, which is amazing. It's run by the amazing JT Liss, who's a photographer here. Um, and then also Hoodlums in general is a like a charity project that I started to basically cure my itch for donating money and making a fashion line. So Hoodlums will have a fashion drop probably next year. But it's going to be a kids and adults fashion drop that's based off of the illustrations from the PFPs that I'm creating. And then each person who owns either a founder's hoodlum or a hoodlum allies hoodlum, which is what the collabs are called, they will receive one of the founders hoodies that we're creating for free. And then they will also get like a super steep discount on the fashion line drop that'll be coming out. And yeah, other that than that, in Hoodlums, we pretty much just talk about art and shit and talk about what people are buying. And the collab artists have been hopping in and shilling their stuff, and it's been a really good time. So definitely drop by. There's also our Discord. Right now, it is locked down to my edition holders, but we'll be opening it up soon so that there's going to be more of an art community feature. I just want to be able to hang out with you guys and talk about art more. It's one of the things I miss the most on my break. So, working on creating more touch points where I can hang out with people and be able to like see people's art and share my art a little bit more, and we can all just have a good time. So, yeah.
Amazing. For those that are not too familiar, those hoodies are wild. Like I've seen some of the mock-ups, and these are not your regular hoodies. Like these are like super custom cut and sew type of hoodies. They're insane. So the fact that the hoodlums get one for free, like I can imagine what the cost is to even just produce these things. Do you plan to release like a certain amount of units, or it's like, what are you planning with that? Because I definitely would love to cop one.
Yeah, haven't decided how many units yet. We'll be putting out some polls and stuff to see kind of what the interest is. But yeah, my goal is to make sure that those Hoodlums custom hoodies are available to everybody. Because I fucking think they're baller. Like I'm gonna get one for everybody in my family. So I just I'm super excited. So no ideas on volume yet, but I'll let you guys know as soon as I know.
Yeah, keep us posted, please. And we're pretty much close to the 1 hour mark. I do want to let everybody know that Hyblinnx and ODK are planning to do a collab together for ODK season two of our honorary critters. So that's gonna be exciting. We do have a list of like 10 artists currently right now, and we're thinking about growing it to 15 or so. So that's gonna be super exciting. It's been a while now. I've been trying to, connect with Hyblinnx and something, but we all know how crazy this space is and the amount of collabs, like it's just insane. Like when I dove into the one-on-one space, I wasn't expecting that type of time consuming type of environment, man. I was just like, holy crap, like, this is like a whole nother world, right? When you're talking about the
Right.
Genesis side, going to the one-on-one space, it's like complete different worlds. Um, but it was a cool experience. Like I enjoy it, and I do plan to continue doing stuff there. But right now with ODK, coming close to the mint and stuff, it's been tough to kind of balance out the both worlds. So this is kind of like my way to kind of still keep in touch, keep our relationships fresh, and do something fun, right? Doing these collabs together, and overall just spreading awareness for both sides that we're creating, we're doing stuff for the space, and overall it's just a good time.
Hell yeah.
But
Love it.
yeah, if anybody wants to come up here, ask a question or two, by all means, hit me up, send me a request. If not, we're gonna close this out pretty soon. Uh, Hi, Blinks. It's been a pleasure. I
Thanks for
definitely want to
having
keep
me.
in touch. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
this is awesome. I feel like a lot of our ODK people, especially the Kings, they have collected your works, and we try to push out your name, when
You guys are
possible.
awesome.
And yeah, it's just overall for the art. I feel like we're all here for pretty similar reasons, right? We like to create stuff. We want to kick it with our friends and see our friends succeed. So it's been amazing to kind of watch your journey unfold, and it's only getting better with time. So super inspirational. Well, actually, I have somebody requesting to come up real quick. Um, all right, what up, Sniper Junk? You have a question? We can't hear you, bro.
Yo, yo.
Okay, you're good now.
All right.
What's up?
GM,
Hello.
what's up?
What's
Just
going on,
chilling.
man?
Yeah,
I like your PFP.
thank you very
Mm.
much. Yeah, so you know, I've been in the one-on-one art space for like a couple months. I've been in Solana exactly for a couple months as well. I've been observing Lyco's journey. I've been also observing your journey as well, Hyblinnx. Zard too. I've been observing your journey. Nova. I think a lot of the artists right here in this spaces too. I've been observing a lot of people's journeys. And when I actually got started, I was kind of lost. So I got a crazy idea to, mirror someone else's journey. like to study other people's journey and have a look at it. Well, I initially had a look at your previous, artworks that you started off with Hyblinnx. I know you initially started off with um project let's say project commission artworks, I think. Something like collabs. You started off with
Yeah.
some Solana projects. I actually had to go back to your entire exchange art feed, which was, a lot of scrolling.
Oh,
I
oh boy.
eventually got to the bottom and, I found collections you initially started off with. I think was that the way, you kickstarted your one-of-one art journey on Solana?
Yeah, it was. When I first came to Solana, um, generative projects were popping. Like that was what people were interested in, like 100%. So I also wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to create in the space yet. So I knew I wanted to get my name out there first. And I thought the best way would be to meet people where they were at, which is really excited about like Degen Apes and Trash Pandas, and Famous Fox was having like a huge moment. And so I did a lot of work around those projects and trying to like get their communities excited about me being like in the space. And then from there, I like slowly started realizing that I could probably sell a whole collection, and then started putting those collections together. Um, but yeah, that was when I was really following the meta that I saw, which was that PFP projects were very popular, and it was the one thing that people were willing to like basically schedule their day around, was the minting of a project. So um yeah, I ended up making a lot of artwork based off of like new mints, and basically just what people were gassed about.
All right, cool. Okay, thank you very much for that. Well, when you initially started, you obviously started off with PFP project. You also mentioned, I think, some seconds ago that you didn't know exactly what you wanted to create at the moment.
Hmm.
Well, were you also having the issue of like choosing a particular style, or did you just have a particular style you were already accustomed to?
Ooh, I had a style I was accustomed to, but it's not the one that I'm using now. Before this, I did a lot of like more realistic people and portraiture and like some comic stuff, but it was all more grounded in reality. And I knew I wanted to break away from that. So through like trying to create from like my old style, and then also pulling in some things that I thought were missing in the space, which was like basically my color palette and like neon touches, and I love drips and drippy things and stuff like that. So I just kind of like cobbled together my style from like what the space was looking for, what the space liked, and also what I knew I could do.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So, what would you advise, let's say, an artist that's definitely getting to the space for the first time? Let's say has a couple of styles already in hand, but the space isn't really. I've asked a lot of collectors, and most of them do say that it's best to stick to one particular style because it kind of gives you something like an identity that when people eventually see your artwork, they would definitely know it's coming directly from this artist. What to take on artists that they just get into the space and they already have a bunch of art styles on their belt. Do they experiment or just stick to one till they eventually get it?
Ooh. I truly think that sticking to one style and being very loud about it is the quickest way to grow an audience. Like having a style and a general like tone for your artwork, and a tone for your tweets and stuff is really like, you need something that people are going to remember and come back to. But that doesn't mean that you need to stay in that style forever once you've built that audience. Like I think that it's kind of toxic to think that artists should only ever create in one style, because we grow, we our styles grow as well, and we should be able to experiment without fearing losing our audience. So I think being consistent about the things that you share is number one. But like you can create whatever you want. Like make just keep making and start looking at your work, see what starts looking alike and pick those things to share. And then the things that look like they're coming out of left field, keep them to yourself. And then at one point you can share them once you have a wider audience and people will start freaking out and be like, oh my God, we didn't even know that you could do this type of stuff. And be like, yeah, I did it like 4 years ago. But like you gotta build a foundation with something. So sticking to a style in order to build whatever you consider to be a healthy enough foundation for your plans is going to be the easiest way to go.
Okay, yeah, that's I think that puts a little bit more that gives it a little bit more clarification.
Mhm.
I just that's the probably the last question. I know I'm giving you a lot.
You're
The
fine.
last question is probably if you were to go back to, the beginning of your art journey, your Solana 101 art journey, are there any things you would probably change or do properly, or habits that you probably drop to, get to the point you are, like valuable lessons you've probably picked up along the way?
Ooh. I think I would have thought harder about what is sustainable for me. Like I'm a people person, but actually my collector's chat stresses me out. Like because I worry about whether or not they're happy. I worry about whether or not they want the chat to be like more engaging. And like none of that is really conducive to what I am good at, which is art. like I that is my superpower is drawing, creating stories and expressing them and then speaking about it. 100%. But like community management is not my superpower. So I think that coming into this, I would have set up my collector experience to be a little bit more hands off, but much more like elevated of an experience. So I probably would have done like a newsletter of like updates to my collectors. And then like in the newsletter, there's always a Calendly link in case they want to like talk to me or something. But I don't think that there's any need for artists to constantly have to be in contact with their collectors and keeping them updated like personally on everything that they're doing. Um yeah, that's probably the one thing that I've become overwhelmed with. And then actually there's one more thing. Um spend time with artists more than you're spending time looking for work. Like the artists in this space are amazing and they honestly keep me inspired every day. Like if I am feeling down, all I need to do is talk to another artist in this space and not only can we like relate to what each other are going through, but also we can talk about the things that we're excited about or the things that we're inspired about or just fucking talk about like what we're watching on Netflix and it just like I don't know, talking to artists makes me feel human again and feeling like I always have to like be looking to sell my work to somebody makes me feel like just a product and I fucking don't like it. So yeah, uh stick around the people that feel like sunshine and that's how artists feel to me. So
All right. Thank you very much. I definitely gave you a lot of questions to definitely answer.
you're fine.
You definitely found your way around all of them. Well, thank you very much for it. Um, Lyco, I think. Is Lyco here?
Yep,
Uh,
I'm here, bro.
hi. How's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. Good, I'm just happy to be here, talking to you
Uh,
guys, spending time here, creating art. Life is good, man.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity to, ask the questions and stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt, brother. Thank you for coming up.
All right. Thank you very much, all.
Take it easy. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and close this out. It's a little bit of an hour now. Hyblinnx, a pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in, coming on in, and letting us explore your mind a little bit. Everybody listening, thank you for coming on up as well. Taking the time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good
And
weekend, everybody.
have a good weekend. And before we close this out, I did pin our newest tweet to the top. It is the first time that we reveal ODK critters. and we did switch it up. So we are now PFPs. So if you guys, hit a like, retweet, give us some feedback. This is the first time that we released this information. So look forward to more stuff rolling out in the next week or so. Very, very excited. Spent 8 or 9 months just, adjusting the direction for this project. So yeah, very, very proud of it. And thank you guys once again for tuning in. Much love to everybody. Happy weekend. And yeah, let's keep it rolling. Peace. See you guys.